Hello everyone from Tony, the Scarred Ghost. So today we are going to see together an interview I had with XPANCEO, one of the companies that are trying to build smart contact lenses. They are in Dubai and they are proposing themselves as innovators in the field. The interview I'm going to show you has been quite interesting because there is a first part where we had a bit of questions about the company, who they are, etc. Well, I will say that the answer were a bit vague, let's say. But then there was a very cool lab tool that got very practical, and especially they let me see remotely what they do inside their labs, their R&D labs there in Dubai. And that's cool because we can enter together into a laboratory when they do prototype for smart contact lenses. So it's amazing. There is only one problem. The connection on their side got a bit tricky, so you will see, especially towards the end of the lab tour, the audio and the video gets a bit crippled. And I'm very sorry for that, but I can assure you that you will not regret watching this video because it's going to be very, very cool. So enjoy.
Okay, so let's start with the easy question. So, can you introduce yourselves?
Well, sure. Valentyn, the mic is yours.
Uh, could you please repeat the
Can
question?
you introduce yourself and the company?
Okay,
So,
yeah, sure, yeah. My name is Valentyn Volkov. I am co-founder of the company and scientific partner of XPANCEO. Yeah. So scientific partner of Roman, let's say yes. Yeah. So Roman is.
My name is Roman. I happen to be a co-founder of XPANCEO, a deep tech company, co-founder and managing partner. So basically, I'm responsible for everything but the science and engineering. Um of XPANCEO, a deep tech company aiming to develop the next generation of computing through creation of invisible and weightless smart contact lens that will merge all your gadgets into one and will provide you with certain superpowers, which I'm sure we're going to discuss a bit later.
so first of all, how is the correct pronunciation of the company? Is it Expansio? What's the correct
XPANCEO.
way?
So it's expensive.
Expansio. That's good. So I don't say it wrong in the next time we speak. But I want to ask because I'm always been fascinated by smart contact lenses, the augmented contact lenses, and this kind of products. What has been the reason why you started this adventure? I mean, why you woke up one day and said, "I start doing a smart contact lens."
Yeah.
Well,
Long story, short
that's
story.
I
that's
have
that's a,
time.
that's a long story. So basically, um, for the last 5 years, I've been living with a feeling that I am being surrounded with inconvenient and obsolete gadgets. I mean, I need four gadgets, four computers just to live through the day. Laptop, smartphone, tablet, gaming console, at least. Not to mention smartwatches, etc., etc. They're all bulky, they're all heavy, they're fragile, not interchangeable. And let's face the fact that even even the targets humanity has set itself for the last for the coming at least 100 years are impossible with current generation of computers. And I really, just like in The Lord of the Rings, I wanted one one gadget to rule them all. I wanted one gadget that will merge all the gadgets into one infinite screen and will provide me with basically all sorts of digital functions
You
and
sound
beyond.
like a duckworth. I don't know. It's
Ooh. So then I came up with the idea of a contact lens. I met Valentyn, who I understood that the key stumbling block is, well, bad gadgets and bad materials. And in order to create such a gadget, we need to miniaturize the electronics as small, to make it as small as possible. And so I approached Valentyn, who appears to be one of the world's most well-known scientists in fields of nano-optics and two-dimensional materials. And I started persuading him to create a company. Then a few months later, we came up with the first prototype, a few patents, and we started raising. And eventually, well, firstly, the company was bootstrapped, but then we were lucky enough to raise substantial amount of funds in order to conduct our engineering activities. And, well, here we are.
Well, so it starts from your need to, let's say, make the technology make a jump forward. But why contact lenses? I mean, why not glasses or whatever, holographic projectors? Why this form factor?
It's too simple to do glasses. I mean, everyone these days producing glasses. It should be a challenge.
Well, you see, glasses, I prefer to think about the next generation of computing as in terms of, Iron Man computer, Tony Stark computer, like bang, 3D world appears around you. You operate it by gaze, by voice, by gesture, maybe later by force of your mind. And in different situations, you will use different gadgets to access this digital world. So at convenience of your home or your office, you will probably use a headset or a mixed reality headset. While having a walk, you will use your AR glasses, and while driving, while swimming, while jogging, while being in outer space, you will use contact lenses. And the form factor of a contact lens itself has many advantages. First of all, it is absolutely infinite. So basically, the field of view is infinite. The field of view is, we do not have anything limiting field of view. Then, secondly, we don't have anything. We don't have a gadget itself. We say best device is no device. So there's nothing preventing you from seeing a real world, unlike glasses or helmets. Then, of course, as it is so close to your body, you will be able to measure biological parameters and, of course, provide you with superpowers like night vision, probably.
Okay. So, and didn't you have any worry about, the eye is a very sensitive part of the body. So, of course, when you go into this complex adventure, the first thing I would think is, what if I'm a software guy? So if I make a bug, okay, blue screen, I reboot the PC, it's fine. But if I make a bug in something in the eye and I fry the eye of someone, it's a problem. So it's a responsibility. It's something that is in the middle between technical and medical field. So how do you, what have been, let's say, your worries and how you are fixing them, how you are taking care of them during this development that you're doing?
Well, yeah, we do it on a regular basis. So, as you know, we have a strong team of very good engineers and scientists. Of course, it's not like Roman and I, we are sitting in front of each other and thinking, okay, how to deal with this problem or that problem. It's like, you know, like everyday engineering scientific routine. So we do it in an organized way. So we kind of, I mean, first of all, one should understand what kind of product we are trying to develop. So once we know exactly what we are doing, that's a very important starting point. Because if you don't really understand what the direction, then you never get there. So after that, we found the direction. We put some boundary conditions and limitations because we do understand that we have limitations in terms of time, in terms of manpower, in terms of mining also. So and then within those boundaries, we determine the main targets, milestones, and then we start approach the solving, of course, problem. If we see that the problem can be solved in the easiest way, we do it in the easiest way. If not, then we try to go around. If it's unsolvable, then we will try to find the alternative. So something like that. And of course, all those things that you mentioned, they appear from time to time, but somehow, so far, we managed to deal with them.
Well, Anthony, you see, Valentyn is a scientist, and he's always too humble, and he always underestimates. Thing is, we have been lucky, incredibly lucky, to gather brightest minds of modern physics and engineering under one roof. Partly thanks to our two connections of and reputation of Valentyn, partly to the amount of money we have raised. But by now, we were considered as top 5 optics labs in the world by BCG. So I would say if the overall concept of this problem is solvable, we have good chances to solve it.
Yeah, so far we did not really met the problem which we kind of we are giving up, so it's not possible. I mean, it's okay. It's doable. It's a question of manpower, time, and efforts which you just
absolutely.
Some of the problems looks more difficult than others, but usually we start with something which is more reachable, and then we try to kind of jump on the next level. Somehow it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
The same approach actually I used in my previous, fundamental science career. It's always like that. You are starting with something which looks less difficult, and then you are jumping on the next stage and solving the problem which is more difficult, and then you back and wow, somehow it's done.
Yeah, but I was curious to know. I mean, I understand what you say. As an engineer, I have the same way of working, but I'm curious to know, since people will be, of course, asking questions, if you already, I don't know, have started creating some strategies to mitigate risks, for instance, on the health of the eyes of the user. I don't know, like the current, the power, the type of power that you use, the materials, etc. I guess you already have some strategies. Some will be secret, of course, because you are still working on them. Maybe you can already share some high-level concepts that you're using on this stance.
Yeah, we do it from time to time. I mean, because we participate in conferences different, we actually even present some first prototypes, and you will have actually today a chance to see some stuff that we already do
Cool.
in the lab. So, but that's inevitable. I mean, because otherwise, how do you know that we are not lying? You know, of course, we have some proofs that it's not just fairy tales from Roman and from me. So sure, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, but as Roman said, we have very good background in optoelectronics, nanophotonics of new materials, and actually that would give us solid background to solve problems. I mean, and to deal with challenges where other people actually could not. I mean.
Nice. I saw on the website that you talk about some special materials that you're using on the lens.
Yes.
So can you give me some more information about this? I mean,
sure, it's not
some technical details.
You know, again, first of all, I mean, we use different materials. Some of them, I'd say, traditional ones. But if necessary, you mentioned those problems. Of course, then we use new ones. And since beginning of 2000, I mean, beginning of this century, you know, there was a huge interest to new optical materials. Because, you know, light, the fastest thing in the universe, you can actually send the energy with the speed of light. You can manipulate, but it's always difficult to manipulate light on a nanoscale because of the diffraction of the light. I don't know if you know, it's kind of, you can't really squeeze light to the dimensions smaller than the wavelength itself. And people have been struggling for the last, I don't know, 80 years, trying to find the solution, how to squeeze the light, how to manipulate it on a scale smaller than the wavelength itself. Wavelengths, I mean, it's rather big. I mean, once we are talking about visible light, it's somewhere around 1 micron. I mean, a bit less than that, but nevertheless, it's big, and especially comparing to the modern nanoelectronics. So, and then at a certain moment, there were new materials, new class of materials appeared. They called two-dimensional materials. They're two bright guys. They actually were the Russian origin guys, but they're from UK, Andrei Game and Konstantin Novoselov. They showed that actually materials, matter, could be actually two-dimensional, which is strange because we are living in a three-dimensional world. And there could be a matter which do not really have a volume, but you can still, I mean, it could be very wide, but as thick as one atom. And so this is materials out of this world, let's say. So, and they have out of this world properties, also including optical properties, electronic properties. So, and then in 2010, they got Nobel Prize for these experiments with the first two-dimensional material, graphene. And for the last, let's say, 25 years or something like that, a huge amount of scientists, they actually played with the materials. Now we have more than 200 of different, those low-dimensional materials. It's like a new table of chemical elements. And me and my group, we are very good in this game. So we can we study them. We can combine different materials on atomic level. We can take one layer of one material, I mean, one atom layer to put another one. Actually, we can create new optical materials which kind of prohibited from quantum point of view, but we can do it. We can stabilize it, and we can create materials with the properties on demand. That would give us the superpower to create this super gadget, which do not exist. And we actually also collaborate closely with Konstantin Novoselov, also with other brightest guy all around the world. Because as Roman said, I'm kind of a scientist, well-known scientist in my field. Yes, and I've been doing all those funny fundamental things before even I met Roman. And so we are not scary of technological challenges. It's okay. That's what makes the project really exciting and interesting.
Yeah, of course. When there is a challenge, we tech guys are excited to try to solve it, so that's good. But what will be there inside a lens? So, like a battery, a screen. What are the components that you imagine to be missing?
This might be a great time to proceed to the lab.
Okay, so
Yeah, how is already established in here? Right now we are in our Dubai, let's say, office, and it consists of Roman is coming.
Hey.
Yeah, we are both here, still both here. Yes. So it's like in the middle, we have this lab facilities. We call it Emerging Technology Research Center within XPANCEO. And then around there are offices. So from one side it's for managers, from another it's an open space for our R&D and product team. So it's like that. This is our lobby with a fancy logo.
Cool.
So if we go this way, then here is our open space. It's actually empty because it's already a bit late here in Dubai. Okay, so here is our open
8
space.
p.m. Friday.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Okay, so guys. Okay, nice, nice. Yes. Okay, so let's start and let's go back and then start a small tour through the lab facilities. Yeah, and of course we also have a shining logo outside of the building. Roman, should I move outside to show?
Well, in case you want.
Okay, let's show its piece of beauty. As you see, it's a beautiful Dubai night already.
Yeah, I see that.
So here is our logo shining. So we kind of have our own tower here, small one, but still, yeah.
Oh.
Just on the opposite side of Google building.
Yeah, so it's Huawei, Google is there. Valentyn, please. There is a tree they can't really see. So
Oh,
Google
so
is
that
there.
small tower has your
Yes,
logo.
so
Yeah.
we picked the right place.
Yeah, so it's also universities all around us. So it's pretty good. Yeah, for
Ah,
doing
good place.
science and business, scientific business. Yes. Okay, let's move back. Okay, let's start with some technological wonders. So, yeah, it's pretty big, let's say, on a typical university lab if you compare. So we are bigger than a typical university lab. So let's start with from here. So here on this table, okay, we are developing interocular pressure sensors, which are supposed to be integrated inside the lens. And well, I don't know if you know there is a big problem with interocular pressure. After a certain age, it's, let's say, it's going out of being normal, and as a result, there are many different illnesses appears, and most famous and dangerous of them is glaucoma, if you heard. And it's very important to monitor this parameter everyday level, let's say. And it's, of course, it's also connected to many other physiological parameters inside your body, starting from blood pressure level, of course, I mean, the usual one, and up to many others. So, and especially, for example, it's very important to monitor once you are, for example, in space. For spacemen, that's a very, I mean, that's one of the most important parameters to monitor the pressure inside the eye. So, kind of many of the smart contact lenses that been tried to develop before us actually tried to integrate this feature into contact lens. So we have our own unique approach. We do it through the, let's say, in an optical way. So our sensor is totally optical. So I mean, in order to kind of monitor the progress of our approach, we actually do it on an artificial human eye because we don't really yet have a permission to do experiments on humans. Yeah. So this thing here, I don't know if you can see it or not. So this is artificial eye. So and the very
Wow.
eye is there. So all in all, it's kind of give us ability to kind of to model the behavior of the real human eye. We can play with the pressure inside. So and as a result, actually, we can check how efficiently our sensors work. So and the sensor itself is consist of, let's say, metamaterial approach. If you, I don't know if you ever heard or not. So it's like a especially nanostructured materials, which let's say, like, strictly speaking, one grating comparing on the top of another grating, and once you kind of change the pressure inside the eye, this interference pattern, which those gratings produce, they give you so-called Moiré image. So which will change dependently on the pressure of interocular pressure. So and we can actually monitor it with a high precision. So and then the behavior of change in this, let's say, interference pattern, then we can kind of convert it in the parameter of the interocular pressure. So that's one of the, let's say, sensors that we are developing right now. So actually, that's a top view from our eye. I mean, don't look on those bubbles. It doesn't really matter. So the sensor is here itself. So right now it's rather big, but this is just to make our life easier to operate with it. So once we will approach the final prototype, it became smaller and will be somewhere from the side of the lens, do not to prevent the ability of the user to view through the lens.
Okay, cool.
So, any questions at this stage?
No, it's all clear for now.
Okay, so let's then move to, okay, okay, maybe, okay, it's the, yeah, one of the problems. Yeah, so I think it's then we're done with this part, and let's talk a bit about extended reality experience, which can be integrated into the lens. We actually developed several approaches here. For example, I don't know if you can see.
The
Valentyn, please.
stick. Yeah.
So that stick, that's a lens.
It's a bit out of focus. Okay, now it's better.
Can you see it? So that's
Yes.
That's a typical lens, and I don't know if you can see it on the phone. There is like central area. That's where our holographic projector is integrated. So basically, it's the idea is relatively simple but complicated. What we do, we integrate dynamic hologram into the contact lens. We can do it on a rigid one. This is rigid or semi-rigid lens, but we can also do it on a soft one.
Oh.
I will show you. That's a typical soft lens. Probably not visible, but the very center. That's a so it's to some extent it works pretty much the same way as a typical, those extended reality glasses works, like where you have like holographic element, then you have projector, but it was kind of, people thought that it's not possible to integrate inside the lens, but we dealt with that problem, and actually we are the very first company who managed to deal with that. So I don't know, can you see something? Okay, so
I
here
see
it's a small demonstration stage. Yeah, so this is right now, you can see it's that's how the typical hologram, which, for example, integrated inside a traditional extended reality glasses work. So you see, okay, so you see green stuff, right? So now instead of this thing, I will put here contact lens. So that's a contact lens. It's integrated in this frame. That's a soft contact lens, a typical one. I mean, made out of hydrogel certified materials. So, I mean, the same materials that are used for this simple lenses. So I don't know, Valentyn, can you move closer? Then you see something.
I see it.
So, of course, the best performance would be if you put the lens into the eye. Then actually you will. Right now, the lens give you our promo of our company.
Okay. But
it's
where are the images coming from in this case? It's It's from the
Yeah,
project.
it's like I mean, yes, I mean, how does it work? Imagine you have like a holographic element into the lens,
Mm.
you shine it with a light, and then it scatters the light and create a virtual image in front of you. Then, of course, it's well, it's like to some extent, it's like typical glasses for extended reality, but give you advantage in terms of field of view, as Roman said,
Yeah.
because once no in any helmets glasses, the field of view is always limited because it's because it's kind of artificial. It's far away from your eye, and the lens, it's to some extent it's a part of your eye. So you put lenses in, you make your field view as a natural one. One call it infinite. Of course, it's finite always because it's defined by the ability of human eye to see the object around. But you kind of start to see the artificial reality in a natural way, not like something which is around you, but as your natural ability. So that's what makes it different compared to traditional approach like helmets and glasses. It's also big advantage in terms of energy consumption. You know, the modern problem with all those VR sets because the batteries, you need lots of power because only a small fraction of sacred light actually is going to your eye because
Yeah.
it shines everywhere. In terms of lens, you are moving as close to your sclera of your eye as possible. It's in a direct contact. Everything is goes directly to your retina through the eye, and you need only a fraction of power uh, to feed your gadget. So it's a huge advantage in terms of power consumption. That's one of the main problems which actually engineers struggling right now in terms of dealing with those VR XR devices.
But
And
sorry if I ask just one little other technical
yeah,
question. But so the projector, like in the glasses, the projector there is in the lens, the
yes,
projector, and then all
absolutely,
the
yeah,
optics. Also in the lens, so there is
yes,
a little projection inside the
yes, and I
lens.
will, yeah, exactly. So it's maybe I can. Yes, in the final, so right now we are kind of going through the set of prototypes. So like we have a separate, let's say, sensor. We have a separate holographic screen, and now, of course, we would need also to have a projector because
Yeah.
you need also to feed this holographic projector with some power. And yeah, please, Valentyn, comes here. So that's where actually we are coming to the electronic part because so far we were mainly talking about optical components.
Yeah.
But smart contact lens, it's smart optoelectronic components, which means it consists of optical and electronic components. And with optics, actually, it's to some extent easier because lens, it's a naturally born device which actually faces with light. Light goes through, and playing with the refractive index distribution, you can actually manipulate with the light refraction, scheduling, and so on. But you would, of course, still need to add the electronic components. And those ones, they are developed in a separate set of prototypes. Valentyn, so show this one. I will show. Let's take this one. So here, for example, that's a very simple circuit. In the center, we have like light source could be a micro display. So then we have antenna, and then we have a very simple matching circuit, which actually match and kind of feed your light source from your antenna. So the idea actually is that in the end, you have to combine your optical part with the electronic part. So you have a source, you have a holographic element, you put them together, and then you create a PR device, which is totally integrated into the lens. So before we showed you that actually you can integrate optical parts into the lens. Now we will try to show that we can actually, right now it's not a lens, it's just on a glass, but to show that actually it works. You see, it starts to shine. So here we have a simple generator, we feed it wirelessly. So, and then it converts, the antenna efficiently converts electromagnetic radiation into let's say, current, which actually feed, and our projector start to work. exactly in the same way, we actually can to put everything inside the lens. So that's already a lens, very nice one. So there is a micro display in the center, again, antenna, very nice one. Of course, in this case, all those electronic components, they are not transparent. We use well, traditional lithography or traditional conductors, which actually can, but nevertheless, it works. So, for example, if we just made this simple generator, I bring it there, and in principle, shine. So now,
Sorry,
if we
can you
combine all the
repeat?
things together, put it
Can you repeat? You got a bit disturbed in the voice. So.
faster. Okay, yeah, sure, yeah. So I just said that in principle, I mean, right now we created this simple generator. The frequency of the generator in principle can be tuned, and the parameters of the antenna can be tuned. This is just to demonstrate that we actually can feed our prototype wirelessly. We don't need any wires here or batteries.
Yeah.
And then actually, if we take now this component, integrate it with the previous optical components, then in the end we have, let's say, self-consistent holographic projector.
Okay.
And so then the next step is actually to try to eliminate or to make those non-transparent components, to make them as transparent as possible. And here, of course, we actually start to talking about those new materials which are two-dimensional or low-dimensional. And we don't just use a traditional two-dimensional or low-dimensional materials. We are also developing our own ones.
Oh.
So as you can see, those lenses that I show you, they are, for example, this is absolutely transparent lens. You can't really see any electronics or any wires on that. This is because the thickness of the electronic components on this lens is just like here it's 5 nanometers, here it's 3 nanometers. You can go it down to 1 nanometer in the thickness. So this is the thickest gold possible on the planet right now. So there was a huge problem to grow such a thin conductor films, but we managed to deal with that. So that's our own patent technology. And right now, for example, if you here it's a typical example. We see it's a totally transparent lens. It does not have any, well, except of those outside electrodes. And you see it's a light shining. So this display is shining in the very middle. So basically, it's because those electronics is invisible.
Okay. Cool.
And we, kind of our job is basically it's a combination of different approaches. We use different materials, traditional, non-traditional ones, combining them together, and so basically creating new materials and new optoelectronic devices. Yeah, we use different smart machines. I mentioned those gold that and small wires, for example, that we need for antennas. So here, for example, it's a very interesting machine. You know, you can't use a traditional approach where kind of you manipulate with the metal layers in a deposition way because there are high temperatures involved. Here we use like ultrasound to manipulate with ultra-thin gold. I don't know if maybe on the screen, so I don't. Can you see it?
Yeah.
So basically we use a special machine which allows us to nanostructure and manipulate thin or ultra-thin layers of conductors in a very way. We can produce or bound those antennas. We can put combine them with an antenna with invisible electrodes. We can transfer their two-dimensional materials to produce ultra-thin optics, highly sensitive sensors, and so on and so on. So basically, all those procedures are done here in the house. I can show you some other of our facilities. I mentioned those. Valentyn, please come here. Mentioned those holograms that we integrate into the lens. Give me a second. Yeah. So the holograms actually all produced in our own high quality optical facilities. Valentyn, could you please come? So we actually write our hologram elements here on this table. So I think we have the best holographic team here in the MENA region. And we also have a very, I don't know if we can go, just a moment, I will check. I think it's blocked. Okay, we need to move around. I will show you a special lab which we use to produce optoelectronic devices based on two-dimensional and low-dimensional materials. Yeah, Valentyn, please come in. Yeah, so here that's absolutely unique lab for the region. When Roman talked that we are kind of top 5 labs in the world, this is also because of all this equipment. Here, actually, we are working with two-dimensional material, low-dimensional materials. Those special machines allows us to exfoliate crystals. We can actually produce like materials in an artificial way. We can use also crystals which are available in the nature, for example, or chemically grown crystals. So we can remove layers of the materials like layer by layer. I mean, I'm talking about atomic layers. So this, for example, that's a machine where you can actually play with the single atomic layers of different materials. For example, you can take graphene, you can put the layer of two-dimensional gold, then you can put the HBN on the top or black phosphorus. Each of those materials will influence the optoelectronic properties. You can, for example, create lens which is extremely thin but has a necessary gradient of refractive index. That would actually allow you to create a projector which actually small enough to be integrated inside the lens. And we also do different stuff with those materials, because sometimes you have to take a two-dimensional material, you have to do the illumination of this material with a very short laser impulses. You kind of evaporate the material, they will collide again, not collide, they will create special particles, and then we kind of put those particles inside the matrix, polymer matrix of the lens. That's another way how you can actually create gradient of the refractive index, or for example, give some sensing properties of the lens itself. Those also particles and materials that I'm talking about, they also kind of manifest very interesting properties also in terms of biosensing, or for example, the materials itself, once they're introduced inside the human body, can actually work like a drug or like a medicine. For example, we can create particles which, for example, can be introduced inside the human body. They're absolutely harmless because they're small. Then they start to, for example, propagate along the blood channels. And for example, if someone has a problem like, for example, cancer, so those particles, they will be actually accumulated inside those damaged cells. So, and they radiate the radiation. So once we eliminate those places with particular wavelengths, we can actually locally just find the cell, the damaged cell, and then locally kill it, well, basically terminate it. And that's also an important part of our job here. So we are trying to produce those highly sensitive sensors. So it's called, what it's called, there is a term, the device itself can find, let's say, disease and try to deal with that. So, and yeah, let's show, Georgi, could you please demonstrate some of the So here, for example, that's a special device where we're developing the most sensitive biochemical sensor. It's based on a two-dimensional material and uses so-called effect of topological darkness. We just recently published a paper in Nature, actually, together with Konstantin Novoselov. So now we use this development or this discovery to use it as a most sensitive sensor in the world, basically. We can actually, with this sensor, we can try to detect a single molecule. It depends. I mean, the sensor itself, rather universal, can be kind of pitched to determine, for example, a small, very small amount of sugar, like glucose or, for example, salt or whatever. Basically, you just need to activate the surface of the sensor in the proper way. So right now, I think Georgi is playing with ultra small, like a few molecules of ethanol. He just putting into this artificial eye liquid, and then immediately can see it. So in principle, right now, the sensor can determine if you're drunk or not.
So you can see the change in the face is quite high.
Yeah.
So basically, we are working with the change. So you can see it's about 60 degrees, which is
So it's So I don't know if you can hear you can hear Georgi or not. So it's absolutely unique approach, because usually people, they're actually trying to do a sensor which is based on the change of light amplitude, and here we are working with the face, which is much more sensitive and actually allows to create this unbelievably sensitive electro-optical sensors. Yeah. Okay, any questions? You were asking about batteries, right? I remember.
I was asking about the components that you are expecting to have inside a single lens. So you mentioned an antenna, projector.
I think we can move back, and I will. We have this model of the final
Cool.
lens. I can show you which is already done and which are still waiting for.
Okay.
Can you see this?
Yes.
So here we have antenna. We have actually those things, blue ones in beneath. That's a batteries.
Okay.
They're still working on this. Yeah, so that's this part is still under construction. Then the significant part of our job also related to solar cells, because we are working with materials that are called sky. So they are very promising solar cell materials, which are supposed to come instead of silicon, which is now used for solar cell powers. So sky, they are cheaper. You can actually do them conventional, and they also.
Sorry. It's 15 seconds that I don't hear well. So I understood that the blue is the battery, then the audio starts degrading.
Batteries. Those orange ones, that's a solar cells.
Storage. Okay.
So with solar cells, we are also working just basically now it's in the process of patenting, and we just also publishing some fundamental papers, because actually we found how to stabilize this material. The perovskite solar cell materials known for a long time, but there was a problem. It was degrading very quickly. So we managed to solve the problem by mixing perovskite with two-dimensional materials. So kind of that would give us a hope to actually to solve the challenge and actually propose our own system of solar cells for contact lens. And then I don't know if you can see it. So those ultra thin electrodes which I mentioned, so we already developed them, and now actually integrating invisible flexible electronics in our contact lenses. So in the very center we have our projector, which is let's say in principle works, but we now need to because it's like separate components of the project already performs very well. So now we actually integrating them into the final device, which hopefully will be delivered within 1 year or something like that. So as you can see, and then of course sensors, which I mentioned previously. They are also we are also now developing the concept of those layer interfaces, which are also based on our ultrasync goal. So we just recently got a patent on them, and there are those interfaces integrated. Also, it's like layer electrodes integrated on the lens. So they will give you ability to control the performance of the lens with the help of either muscles, but we believe that in the end it will be possible to control the lens with the power of your mind, with your souls.
Cool. And what are the applications that you are imagining with this device?
Well, one interesting device which we are working right now, it's a night vision. I mean, that's one of the greatest dreams and challenges because, you know, the modern night vision devices, they are huge, bulky, and but again, with the help of our materials and those particles that I mentioned earlier, it seems like we can actually overcome this problem of the bulkiness and actually put our night vision device onto the contact lens as well. Then also camera, we just got a patent for extremely small, it's what is called like volume-less camera, which also can be integrated into the lens. That would actually give you, I don't know, you saw this last Batman movie.
Sorry? Batman movie.
Batman. What
No.
Batman movie? The very last one.
No.
So that's in that movie actually one of the main gadgets which all the story is told around. It's actually the smart contact lens. It's called Batman smart contact lens with the camera. So the guy, the Batman is jumping around and kind of making a movie of everything he's watching for. So it seems like we can do something similar. At least the camera is already now in the process of planning. So we managed to create a camera which is extremely thin. It can be integrated into the lens.
So is the display monochrome now? I see. Pretty common.
Yeah, right now, yes, right now it's monochrome, but it depends on the source. Because right now we are using, I mean, just for demonstration of principle, we just use a monochrome micro displays. So, but those color displays, I mean, they are already developed, I mean, and actually available in the market. I mean, we are kind of already trying to integrate, but that part is not yet ready. It's doable. We can know how to improve the color problem. We know how to improve the resolution of our micro displays and projectors. That's all doable. Yeah.
Okay.
There are no fundamental limitations. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. So I guess many people will want to is curious about when this kind of gadgets can be available, or at least as a prototype people can buy on the market. I mean, I know making an estimate is impossible, but you think it's more 20 years?
Yeah, there is nothing impossible here. We have like at the end of 2006, we believe that we will be able to manifestate this prototype of a perfect contact lens, where all those things that we do here will be integrated into one device. Then, of course, after that, it will take probably some time to. Well, I don't know if Roman mentioned or not. We also need to do a certification of our lens, because any contact lens, it's of course a medical device, or it's considered to be a medical device. So before, of course, that might take also a few years. And then, of course, also a question how to go from prototype to mass production level.
Yeah.
There additional probably 3-5 years. We actually consider also working here on a principle of 3D printing. We are trying to actually, in the end, we have a dream that we will be able to print our lens all. I mean, like one gadget, including all of the electronic devices is possible. We just have the special machine to just purchase it. So there are strong hope that actually we can also not only produce a prototype, but also show the way how to actually to move to the mass production. For example, through the 3D printer procedure, 3D printing procedure.
Yeah, and do you think that this kind of contact lenses will be affordable for people, like everyone, instead of using standard contact lenses for the same price,
Sure. I
more
mean,
or
again,
less?
yeah, here Roman might I think Roman has some ideas. I mean, because he's more on the business part. Yeah, I think our product team actually works strongly towards the strategies how it should be, because of course it's only half of the job to do a prototype. Then of course one should see how to deliver it to the customer. We have some ideas, yes.
And then my last question on the technical side is I got to try, of course, on a stick, the prototype of Mojo Vision, you know, the
Yeah,
other companies
yeah.
making contact lens and now pivoted towards micro displays. What
Yeah,
are
exactly. We
the
actually, sorry, I interrupted. We actually also, in close communications with them, we are very interested in their micro displays as well. I mean,
Oh,
because
that's cool. That's cool.
the display is actually excellent. You were asking about those color micro display. That's would be one of the solutions. Yeah, that's modulation micro displays.
But what are the differences? Is there some
The
fundamental
difference is
difference
very
between your two
sure to
contact
some
lenses?
extent, yes, because Mojo actually used, traditional optics approach. There, what they call I think, the femto projector, that was the steering scheme they used. It's a traditional telescopic approach where you have like display like source, and then you have a couple reflection surfaces like a mirrors. So
Mhm.
because you need to accommodate this propagation length in order to produce the proper image. And this is because they use the traditional optical materials. We actually hope to overcome, and seems like we can do it with the help of those next generation optical materials, which actually allow you to get a higher effective index, higher transparency, and wider working range compared to traditional optics.
Okay, that's very cool. That's very cool to know. Plus, they were working with rigid lenses, but I see you work with both, in fact, rigid and soft.
Yes, that's one the challenge which we accepted from the very beginning. We are kind of simultaneously developing both concepts. The rigid ones, it's kind of course, Moji is right. It's always easier to manipulate with a rigid surface.
Yeah.
But in the end, like 300 million people using actually soft lenses, contacts at the everyday level. So they're actually developing both. And again, soft lenses, they are much more comfortable. Believe me, it's.
That's very cool. I also saw that you talk on the website about integration with AI. Is it something you are going
Yes,
to do like
we
how?
already do because that's we have very strong department here within our center which actually do only with artificial intelligence and machine learning.
Mhm.
So we do it because, as I said, we work actually with new materials. And if the only way to such a huge amount of different materials to find the proper combination, if you do it in experimental way, it will take years. So we use a lot of machine learning to find the best combination of those new optical materials. And they also, of course, use artificial intelligence and machine learning for manipulating with the images. I mean, like if you are doing with something with the modern sensors or ultra compact sensors and so on, then of course, in order to keep everything compact, we need to use the help of artificial intelligence. It's too slow and too bulky.
Okay, that's cool. So I've not more any more questions about what you show me. I mean, since you explained me a lot, so that's very cool. Thanks for this tour.
A
Let's
pleasure.
say
Yeah, thank you very much.
distant tour of the lab. I already stole from you a bit of extra time that there was allotted for this interview, so really thank you.
Welcome. Then I'm going back to my office.
Yeah. So
Okay,
been,
I expect. I
No,
hope
it
it was not
really-
too boring. Yes.
No, it was interesting. It was very detailed, and I was quite excited to be in the lab remotely. It was very cool. So really, thank you for your time and your kindness, and keep up your great work and enjoy your weekend at this point. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Have
you,
a nice
Anthony.
weekend. Yes, great
Have a
pleasure.
nice
you.
weekend and cheers. Take care.
Yeah, bye bye.
Yeah, bye bye.